Welcome back to Matt's Strats, the series where we go over short strategy videos talking about strategy content for intermediate and advanced level players. This is a game from a ChessGoals VIP member, and it's a classical game. Both players are rated over 1600 over the board ratings, and they played a very high level game. When I was looking through the game, there was one very important concept that I really wanted to highlight for a Matt's Strats video, and it comes from this position. So here in the game, black played queen takes d2, and there's two options for white. White can play king takes d2 or bishop takes d2. So similar to other Matt's Strats videos, what I want you guys to do as viewers is pause the video here and think about a few different things. What happens after king takes d2? What happens after bishop takes d2? Think about the imbalances in each position, the resulting eval, and put your notes in the comments below. Let me know which move you think is better and give me the eval for both of those moves. So I want you to really think about this position in terms of stockfish eval and the imbalances. So I'll give you a second here to pause the video if you would like to, and then I'm about to go through, talk about the solution, go over both of the moves. All right, so first let's look at bishop takes d2. I think this is the most natural move in the position. Typically, we don't like to move the king if it ruins our chance to castle later. And in this position, bishop takes d2 gives an eval of plus 0.1, and it's actually stronger to castle with the king, and by quite a bit. But let's first look at bishop takes d2 and figure out why isn't this as strong as king takes d2. So the threat here is knight takes e7 check for white. So we're going to look at knight takes d5 for black. And after bishop takes d5, there's a really strong move for black. If you want to try to guess it, go ahead and pause the video here. I'm going to show you the answer. Bishop to h4 check. And this is a very important move, and this is what keeps the position close to equal for black. Now, the problem for white is this king really wants to either castle or move up to f2 or d2. The king does not want to move to e2 because that blocks in the g1 knight, which is already having some trouble getting developed. So after bishop to h4 check, there's no good option for the white king. The king doesn't want to go to d1, doesn't want to go to f1, and then does not want to go to e2. d2 is covered by the bishop, and f2 is covered by the black bishop. So really there's no good options here for white after bishop to h4 check. So let's say white plays king to d1. It's probably the strongest move. Black can play knight to d7, quickly planning knight over to b6. And after knight e2, knight to b6, black is able to develop smoothly, and they plan to capture on d5 next. The weakest pawn on the board is the pawn on d6, but it's really not easy for white to target it with this king sitting on d1. So that's what leads us to the advantage of only 0.1 for white. And if bishop to b3 is played, there's bishop to e6 for white, and the position is very close to equal according to the engine. So now let's back up and look at the stronger move, king takes d2, and then we'll compare the two positions to really highlight the differences. So king takes d2 for white, very strong decision, and the eval here is plus 0.9. So we're looking at close to a full pawn advantage for white, and we'll play out a few moves just to see why that's true. Knight takes d5, bishop takes d5, and now let's go knight to c6 for black. There is no bishop to h4 check anymore because the king is already on d2, and this is a big deal because white's able to very quickly develop and connect the rooks. Knight to e2 for white, and if bishop to e6 is played by black, white can now play knight to c3. White has firm control of the d5 square. King to e2 can be played, rook to d1. And the reason king to e2 is good is because we see that the knight on g1 already found its way to c3. So white has very smooth development. And black has the weakest pawn on the board, the pawn on d6, which is also trapping in the e7 bishop. So here we're looking at that eval of 0.9. And let's compare this position to the one after bishop takes d2. So look at this position. White's not able to attack the d pawn. Black quickly got this knight out, that bishop got out with the tempo. White's rooks are not connected. Compare that to this position, White's sitting really well. So even though those appear to be very small differences, that 0.8 eval is something that's going to matter a lot in your games. So every time you can make the stronger strategic decision like this, that's going to lead to tactics being in your favor, or in this case, a higher percentage of the time, you're going to be able to convert this endgame for a win instead of it heading towards a draw. So you want to always try to make the most accurate strategic decisions, and that will lead to better tactical outcomes and also better outcomes in the endgame in a position like this. All right, so that's Matt Strats number 3, talking about king position. That came from a ChessGoals VIP member game. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next Matt Strats video.